I'm a little nervous this morning. I have the first cortisone shots this afternoon, and since I had the reaction after the angio and the bad experience with the nerve conduction test, I have also been told mixed reactions by different people about their experience with getting the shots. Unfortunately, my doctor needs to do the test to also see if the reason my left hand is starting to have problems gripping and holding, if the shot relieves the pain and helps the pinched nerve, hopefully the hand will get better too. Well, it's my field trip day to the Air Force Base. I have a cardiologist appointment to see if the changes in my medications are working, my case manager to get the last minute paperwork for the hearing, and then I get the fun of walking over to the main base to the satellite pharmacy to pick up my prescriptions. I will be so glad when the pharmacy at the hospital clinic is done. Due to the possible asthma being back, I get to walk for 5 minutes, rest for 5 until I have the breathing test next week. I really can't complain on that one since my asthma used to be really bad. That is why I moved to Vegas in 1999 at my doctor's suggestion, and this is the first time it has bothered me since. Being sick opened a few doors, but not many. For 2 weeks, a friend paid for me to have a motel room and have a moment to get my thoughts straight. A few other friends let me stay for a couple days, maybe a week, all hoping to delay me actually being on the street. With hope, there was some kind of assistance for me. We all found out very quickly that a woman going on 50 with no dependent children because they are all grown, who is not running from an abusive relationship, who is currently not battling any issues with drugs or alcohol because I have almost 19 years sober and a multitude of health issues, has nowhere to go in 2015 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have been thanking God with every step I take. He gave peace through the storm. He gave me laughter, the hospital staff's love, and He gave me joy as I face every obstacle along the bumpy path. God removed many people I don't miss, but He replaced them with many that are walking in the same direction as me. I thank God that He chose me to be an example of His glory. My journey continues with some old friends and family and with new friends. I am so thankful to everyone that was there for me by prayer, encouragement, rides, shelter, food, money, and those that strengthen my faith by sending scripture and advice. Well, the main part of the cold broke, but the congestion is now in my chest with the cough. That's what I was hoping to avoid, 'cause I can only cough so long before it stresses my heart. I'm also a little concerned because the 12-hour Mucinex cough did not help at all. Every time I open my mouth to talk, I cough. The last time I had a cough and congestion after a cold was September 1998. It was a combination of asthma and bronchitis that put me in the hospital for a week. Well, tomorrow is the day I've been waiting for. 2.5 years after I first got sick. My attorney says the odds are 70% I will be approved right off the top because of the judge I've been assigned. This judge also usually decides the same day. The main attorney that was going to do my case got called out of town on a family emergency. So one of the senior partners is doing my case. And yes, I'm a little nervous. I also believe a lot of the anxiety I have been having will go away once this is over. There is a big stack of files on the judge's bench. And I'm thinking, wow, he has a lot of cases today. But at one point, when he is talking to me, he puts his hand on top of the stack that had to be at least 12 inches high and said,
"Your conditions are so extensive, we had to create a table of contents for your medical records."
I know my jaw dropped. He asked me some questions, then said,
"Wait here. My clerk will inform your attorney of my decision shortly."
My attorney said,
"Well, this isn't normal, but it is a good sign."
While waiting for the judge's decision to come back, I reflected on a memory from the 29th day of our relationship. Ricky had started a tradition where we prayed together every day a few days before on the 21st day of our relationship. And it did not matter how late it was at night. We always prayed. Because of it, we never had a fight and we never raised our voices. I'm not saying that we never disagreed or said something that hurt, but he believed with Jesus Christ being the center of the relationship, amends were always made quickly. I carry this practice today, and I pray that my next relationship will have the same. I will not settle for less. The judge approved me in 10 minutes. He changed the start date to when I had the first stroke followed by a seizure, but that's okay. Praise God. Early this morning, Mama Pat decided to heat up her coffee. She put it in the microwave for 2 minutes like every other time. When it was done, she took it out and put her cream in it and then placed a metal spoon in it to stir it. Coffee exploded right out of the cup all over the kitchen. As we both stood there dripping with coffee on us, we first thought the cup had broke, but it was sitting there unbroken. I poured my coffee down the sink and left the fresh pot brewing while I went to take a shower. Ricky's sister, Gloria, also known as Sissy, has been called home. She suffers no more. I'm not taking Sissy's passing well, even though I knew it was coming. My heart feels like it broke. On Thanksgiving, I always look back on the year and see if I am a better person than I was the year before. It seems nothing went the way I had hoped. No, that's a lie. One thing is, if someone would had told me that I was going to walk through a total of 9 deaths, including Ricky. Have a stroke, become homeless, spend 9 days at Desert Parkway, have kidney failure, lose a lot of people I thought were my friends, totally stripped of every possession, live between 2 friends' homes, be given a lot of friends that believe in Jesus Christ. God would be my best friend, and that I would be happy, joyful, and at peace. I would have asked you, what had you been drinking? This year, I joked a lot about how God and I needed to have a talk, because this was way more than I could handle. And then it dawned on me that God gave me way more than I thought I could handle, so that I would turn to Him. I will forever be so thankful to Ricky for leading me to God. But then when he passed, I was lost and very confused, because I saw people that said they were Christians be very ugly and hypocritical. But God told me to forgive and trust Him, that humans always fall short, and He put a couple of angels in my life. I walked through all with a smile and a thankful heart to just be alive. I am starting to see the blessings for God has showed and placed in my life. I am thankful for my sister Elise for walking with me every day via Facebook, for constantly telling me that things will be okay and God was going to bless me beyond my wildest dreams. I hold on to that. My dog sitting is officially over. Yay! Makes me love cats even more. Nicole, knowing my situation, needed someone to watch her dogs while she was out of town, and I agreed. I go back out to Mama Pat's tomorrow morning, who says I've been missed. Raymond has no one to talk football with, and Kenny misses me being there to find a criminal TV show for him to watch, and also me jumping out of my seat every time he slams the table or wall with his hand because the voices in his head are talking to him. Yes, it takes someone very special to deal with those two. Mama Pat said,
"You're the first one that didn't fear Kenny."
My response was, because the voices in my head says he's the normal one. I finally read through the judge's ruling on my disability hearing. It is 9 pages long. They went all the way back to 1974 on my medical history. What I find hilarious is he stated that my medical history was so voluptuous that it required a table of contents. And it was over 5,000 pages. I'm having an MRI done on my spine, and they are sedating me for it. The last time I had an MRI, it gave me such a bad headache that it triggered my vasospasms. So I guess they figure if I'm not awake, it won't happen. I pray that they do not find the C3 through C7 disc in the condition they have seen on the previous MRI and x-rays, because they would require surgery. According to the doctor, some of the discs are fused together, and also degenerative disc disease. This last week that I've been at this live-in job watching two disabled grown men and being a listening ear to Pat, which I have learned more from her in the last week about history from her experiences than I have from most other sources, with the exception of Eddie P. I have been pain-free except for my hands due to the carpal tunnel and arthritis, which the solution that has helped has been getting back into my crafts. I even walked half of a Las Vegas block and back without my walker. Today, she's taking me to the store where she gets her sewing materials from because she says they carry the type of canvas I use there. She is also going to teach me how to cook. Her being from Louisiana, that is going to be fun. I have people and doctors amazed at the fact that my sense of humor has not diminished, but has increased. Last week at my doctor's appointment, he said,
"If I didn't know for myself, I would swear there is nothing wrong with you."
One of the things I learned from being a student of the power of now in these last 5 years is not to make a life situation my identity, to live in the now and don't worry about it. Emotional stress is a no-no, and all my medications have side effects. I can't worry about what might happen if I take them. I have one that says it can cause death, but I don't make matters worse for myself, as Ricky would say, by looking everything up. If and when a side effect happens, I'll worry about it then. I don't check my symptoms on the internet because no matter what I put in, such as pain in foot, my diagnosis is always go to ER or dial 911. I have to stay in the moment. I don't do it perfect, and I have to constantly ask God to keep me in the present because my mind loves to take vacations, even while praying. Did I wake up? Yes. Do I have the meds to help with my heart and other issues? Yes. Am I in my right mind? Well, no, but it works. Then I am blessed for the day. Each day, I make sure I try to talk, text, or Facebook with those important in my life. Each day, I attempt to tell everyone I love you. Each day, I set out to make people laugh or just smile for a moment. Each day, I pray that I bring joy wherever I go. Living in the now, I enjoy the day no matter what comes my way. I remember when out walking, Ricky and I would get a laugh out of couples that would get mad because someone looked at their significant other or they looked at someone. Ricky and I both loved that we were with someone that attracted others. Honestly, who wants to be with someone that no one else would want to be with, or vice versa? If a beautiful woman or handsome man walks by, we both look and point them out. Having been in relationships before, that if it is even looking like I may have looked at some other person, they would explode. So I know the feeling. Today, I'm confident enough in myself to not feel threatened by another beautiful woman, and I will tell her she's beautiful. while Ricky would actually hold a conversation with another man that found me attractive. A relationship without expectations runs peacefully. Another year is coming to a close, and God has found reason once again to let me see it. This was a very soul-searching year. So many that I interacted with every day were called home back to God. Facebook helped keep me sane and gave me laughter. Many times I could not get to places I usually went, but because of it, I was able to stay connected. Please keep Mama Pat in your prayers today. Her brother Raymond passed in his sleep last night. Merry Christmas. It's been a trying day. Mama Pat lost 2 more relatives. The youngest is 18. Mama Pat said the last thing Raymond asked her before he went to bed last night was,
"Are you sure Cheryl will be back Saturday?"
Her response was,
Yes, Ray, I'd pick her up that morning.
which he responded,
"Good. I miss her when she's not here."
I am going to miss him. He was such a caring and gentle soul. Dear God, thank you for seeing me through this past year. I know without you, I wouldn't have made it. You carried me through so many valleys and over so many mountains. I hope I didn't complain too much. I did the best to keep a positive outlook on everything, even though there were a few things I didn't agree with. I accept what happened with the faith that you know what is best for me. I tried to be thankful through it all, even though sometimes I question your reasoning. The landscape of my life is so different than the one I thought it would be. As I start this new chapter, I ask that you guide me to where you want me, and I will trust you regarding home, church, meetings, relationship, family, friendship, children, grandchildren, doctors, and disability. It is so hard at times not to want to be in the driver's seat and run things the way I would like them to go. Teach me constantly to have you on my mind. I ask, Father, that you bless and protect my children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews in the coming year. A special prayer to every one of my friends who have lost someone or a relationship or a job or home, that you will comfort them in their time of need. As long as I am alive, peaceful and happy in the coming year, like I am right now, anything else in this new year will be icing on the cake. I love you, your favorite child. As Ricky's natal birthday approaches on January 8th, it put a smile on my face because he would be like a kid wanting to see what creative way I came up with to celebrate. But his favorite, which had become a tradition, was the videos he knew I had worked on. In between hospital stays and doctor's appointments, my favorite was the last one I was able to do in 2014, and it was the best one. I have watched it many times since Ricky passed on. I watch it on the days I want to give up. Remembering the last thing he said to me.
You must go on without me. My job is done. Allow yourself to fall in love again, 'cause God has for you someone better than me.
I couldn't even conceive anyone better than him. Today I can believe it 'cause God keeps amazing me every day. It is so strange not having Raymond here. He was an avid sports fan like me, and every Monday morning we would talk about the football over a cup of coffee. Kenny is back to normal. He had not said anything since his uncle passed. He woke us up yesterday morning cussing at his invisible friends that he has had since he has suffered a brain injury at 18 when he stole and crashed his uncle's car. And for the last 31 years, Raymond and him still argue over it. Mama Pat is doing okay. She has her moments. She was 9 when Raymond was born, and they were very close, and he had just turned 65. Since he was a Vietnam vet, she hopes today this will be the last day she has to go to the VA, so she can set the date he will be buried in San Diego. It's so hard to believe it's been a year already since Ricky first went into the hospital with stomach pain. I would never have guessed that we would only have a little under 5 months left together. He would have been 60 on the 8th of this month. We only had good times, so every memory is a good one, even in sickness and death. I'm not going to say rest in peace, because I know he's at peace, hanging out with God and playing with the heavenly band. Ricky was my number one fan, cheerleader, and gave me nothing but tender, loving care. He never put me down because he was always lifting me up. I got a chance to return the TLC that he gave me. After the first surgery, he was in so much pain that all he kept saying to me was,
Baby, please, just take me home. I will give you anything you want. I just want to go home.
All I could do was say, soon, baby, real soon. As I pushed the morphine drip button for him, he couldn't do it. He was strapped down because he had came out of the anesthesia violent. We repeated that 2 more times before he finally passed out. I do not know where my life is going, and I do not know how much longer I have. So I have decided to take some of my money and go to California and see some of my friends that I have not seen in years and to make some amends. At my hotel in Los Angeles, the Greyhound ride was interesting. The driver at every rest stop would ask if I wanted him to get my walker. He had placed it so he could easily pull it out if needed. My Uber driver was very friendly. The bar in my 2-room suite is a little round table, and the refrigerator has one of every kind of beer, 1 water, and 1 bottle of Coke. That's too funny. There's a bed in each room. One has the television, and the other has the bathroom. They're very bouncy. Sometimes just hearing my older sister, Elisa's voice is all I need. She has a soothing voice. She says I sound like her, and I just laugh because I don't think so, and I personally love her voice. Due to the losses of loved ones this year, we stay in contact every day via text, Facebook, Messenger, or phone. We support each other. We lift up each other. We think so much alike. Many times we say the exact same thing. Being the younger one, I listen and learn a lot from her. She is my shero. I can tell her anything and know she will be honest with me. I cannot wait to see her. I had a great time with my sister yesterday. I am proud to say that Desi survived being around the 2 of us together at one time. Actually, he fit right in, which is a good thing. We had such a great time. We're doing it again tonight. I had totally forgot about my back until I went to move a certain way this morning, and my back said, "No, you don't." Ooh, look, football. I really hate that the coffee is 27 steps outside my room and not in it. Note to self, next trip, bring portable coffee pot. My last full day in LA before I head to Pasadena for 3 days to see my grandson and family. It has been wonderful. On my way to Pasadena, Altadena area. It's been fun, LA peeps. Sorry for the few I couldn't hook up with, but I'll be back. Love ya. The pain of someone being snatched from you suddenly because of cancer is none like anything else. One of the reasons they cut Ricky open during his gallbladder surgery instead of laser is because when he was a boy, he was playing with matches and set his house on fire. His mother was able to snatch him from the flames by grabbing his shirt, but not before he had 3rd-degree burns on the right side of his back and side. The doctors determined that the scar tissue from the burns and skin grafts is what prevented them from seeing the mass that had been on his right side. When they went back in after the gallbladder surgery to make sure they had not missed any stones because he was still in pain and was not healing properly, they found the mass. It came back that he had stage 4 stomach cancer. I got to meet my grandson, Javen. His mother, Lindia, brought him to see me. And I got to spend some time with my former brother-in-law, Rick, before I headed out this morning. It's so hard to believe that we have known each other since I was 14 years old. On the bus coming back from Los Angeles to Vegas yesterday, first of all, the air wasn't working, so it was hot. We only had the vents on the top open. There's a little toddler and his father in the seat behind me. The toddler whined and cried for about 2.5 hours. And every time he would stop crying, his dad would say something stupid like, "You need to suck it up," or "You need to stop that whining." And the baby would start whining all over again. Now, adults were complaining about it being hot. Add a toddler confined to a seat with nothing to play with, and the result is going to be a miserable child. About the 5th time he did that, I turned around and asked him if I could tell him something. He said, "Sure." So I proceeded to tell him that every time the baby stopped crying, he would say, "You need to suck it up or stop that whining. You can't be whining like that. Maybe next time he's quiet, try not saying nothing to him, and he may just fall asleep." His wife, who was sitting across from him with another baby, nearly jumped out of her seat. She said to me,
"Thank you so much. I've been telling him that since he was born, but he never listens to me."
She turned to her husband and said,
"Maybe now you will listen to me."
I can tell you, we did not hear anything out of that father for the rest of the trip because he was pouting. But the toddler slept for the rest of it. I personally don't understand people who tell a 2-year-old to suck it up, or a parent that takes a child on a 5-hour trip and doesn't bring something to keep them busy. Just thankful it is over. Well, I either have a cold in my throat or my tonsils may finally need to come out. Throat was a little sore yesterday, but this morning I barely have a voice, and the back of my throat feels obstructed. And when I breathe in my mouth, it's like a wheeze. If I breathe out, it's like a bark. Yet my throat isn't sore. Hey, baby. I still have my head up. I still have my smile. I still have joy. And most of all, I have God. You were right. I can't go on without you. Thank you. Since Mama Pat has decided to move back to California, I have moved in as a roommate with my best friend, Michael. Well, today is one of the 3 days I've been waiting for. I get the test final results on my spine, MRI, X-rays, and nerve conduction test. I already know I have nerve damage that affects my left side, pinched nerves in neck and lower spine, and degenerative disc disease. Now I get to find out how bad. I also get the results from the second brain MRI and CAT scan to confirm or not confirm that the MS or multiple sclerosis diagnosis made in May is one of the three things. It is either a misdiagnosis, the same as it was, or it is worse. I can truly say, while going through these tests and waiting on the results, I did not let it consume my thoughts. Unfortunately, I can't say that is true this morning, mostly because my left hand seems to not want to work, and the middle to the pinky fingers keep curling into a fist. That is one of a long list of signs to watch for, so when I get to my neurologist, I will bring it up. Today is day number 2 that I've been waiting for. I get the results of my breathing tests, the results from my on-base cardiologist and neurologist. Now, these two doctors never agree with my off-base cardiologist and neurologist. They are still talking about spine and hand surgeons, and I'm supposed to have another one of those tests on my brain to see if I have strokes while I'm sleeping tomorrow. Just had one in November, and for some reason this one just has not been approved yet. I told God I didn't want to be tested every 3 months just to see if something may be happening while I'm sleeping. Long as I wake up in the morning and I can get up and talk, I know nothing happened that night. I was told I need to work on my self-esteem, and that person is right. Because dealing with chronic illness makes it very easy for self-esteem to drop. Got my red on and my red thumbs for Heart Disease Awareness Month. So many close to me have been affected by it. Ricky had congestive heart failure right before he passed from cancer. My sister Nicole D passed from congestive heart failure. My best friend has heart problems. I can go on. But I believe we all know someone with anything from a heart murmur to a hole in their heart. I'm not asking you to wear red every day of February, but maybe one day that isn't Valentine's Day in support of this disease. Have a blessed and wonderful day. I love you. My pain management doctor was pleased with my progress yesterday. The new MS pain med is doing its job. I am so frustrated right now. After the second stroke, I lost strength on my left side, my hand and arm. I also have nerve damage in my left hand. I have arthritis and carpal tunnel in my right hand. Most of the times I can't see the difference if I'm not doing anything, but doing something as simple as trying to put on a fitted sheet on a bed. It took me 20 minutes yesterday because I didn't have the strength and my hands wouldn't keep the grip to pull that last little tug you need for the last corner. This morning, I tried to open a little bottle and can't get the top off because my hand refuses to stay gripped tight enough to turn the top, a top that should come off with no problem. I drop things because my hands just decide I don't want to work anymore. Crash. I was in the store about a month ago I had just finished paying for my things, and I was pulling my card back in my wallet when my hands just let go, and every single business card that was from doctors, nurses, and specialists fell out onto the floor. I looked down in disbelief and was on the verge of tears because I didn't know how to explain to the cashier that I wasn't going to be able to pick up those cards. At the same time, the store manager, security guard, and 3 other employees just happened to be coming inside the store. The manager quickly ran over to me, picked up the main part, and asked if my most important cards were in it, and then asked permission to put it back in my purse. She grabbed my stuff and moved me aside while the security guard and other employees quickly picked up all my cards. Things like that I call my God shots. I used to think I imagined it, that I had just got clumsy. This is like a jigsaw puzzle for the doctors. They are trying to decide which issue was caused by which problem. The carpal tunnel and arthritis was easy because of the weakness and the nerve damage. They have to decide what was caused from the strokes, what was caused from the pinched nerves in my back and neck, and what is caused from the MS. I'm a little apprehensive this morning. The approval for the EEG on my brain came through at 2:30 a.m. this morning for 2 p.m. today. I don't understand why this test is needed again so soon. This will be the 4th time doing this test in the last 7 months. The fact that this one was requested after reviewing the second MRI of my brain has me so uncomfortable that it is actually making me sick. When I asked why it was needed, I was told,
You have several factors that are determined by your brain. You have a seizure disorder. You have post-2 strokes with residual anteglast gait. You have MS. You have been known to just fall asleep while walking down the hallway. You have memory and concentration issues. You have a brain that sends the wrong signals to different parts of your body, such as your eyes and ears, which we find fascinating. You have central cerebral abnormalities, severe major depressive disorder, poor judgment and insight, topped off with slurred speech. I can see the difference in your face, which leads me to believe that something is going on with your brain. Anything else you don't understand?
I told him, no, but that my brain got mad at my invisible friend and ran away, so we cannot do the procedure. He laughed and said,
See you tomorrow.
At times like this, I have to trust that God knows best, and this is just the neurologist. When I think of the list of conditions from the cardiologist, pulmonary doctor, neck, back, spine surgeon, hand surgeon, psychiatrist, psychologist, and primary doctors, the fact that I can laugh at myself each day is definitely a gift from God. This new medication, baclofen for MS, works great for the symptoms, but my body is not liking it. I have to take it 3 times a day, so just when I start feeling better, it's time for the next dose. I called my doc, and he asked me to give it to the end of March for my body to adjust to it because the benefits outweigh the temporary discomfort. which is true. He gave me a short list of things to watch for, and if those happen, to stop the med and call back immediately, asking for prayer that my body quickly adjusts to this med. They are keeping me. Apparently, the stress test that was abnormal in October when they went in there was some artifacts. So now I got to have a CAT scan, angio, and some other tests. Depending on those will determine next steps. Getting ready to get a room and doped up. My memory must be getting bad because I'm really forgetting being told these things. So I'll be off for a while. Having a blast. At least my respiratory therapist is cute. If they can keep me pain-free, I can go home. So they're getting ready to switch up some meds to include the new pain med for the pain in my hip that I'm actually hoping is just arthritis. Well, having stress tests tomorrow, since the last one in October was abnormal and the angiogram then wasn't totally passed due to some narrowing caused by previous stent placements. Been given pain med, waiting on sleep med. Hopefully we'll get some since they are doing another breathing treatment at 12:30 a.m. Meow for now. This is not my day. My head is in a blue bag instead of a toilet. The nurses and techs have been great because honestly, I couldn't do their job. I finally stopped heaving my guts, but I kept dreaming something was burning. I guess it was me. I have a temperature of 101, and my blood pressure is 150/90. Not good. My normal blood pressure is 117/79. My body has lost its mind. Okay, what little mind it had left. All right, it filed for a restraining order and ran away with my invisible friend. I'm free. Still feel a little under the weather. All I want to do is go home and take a long bath, wash my hair, and try to get that hospital smell off of me. I cannot believe it is March already. Well, gonna straighten my hair today. Hope my arms are up to it. It's been about 10 years since I did it myself, but I'm hopeful. The blow dryer, straightening brush, flat iron, and a curling iron are all black and hot pink in color, so I'm taking that as a sign. Meow for now. Yes, I'm tired. Just went about 4 days of insomnia during National Sleep Awareness Week. Go figure. Just found out someone I've known for 25 years passed. Besides that, I'm doing great. I am at the tired of taking medications again. and playing with that idea of stopping them and seeing what happens. I currently take 24 pills a day, use 2 patches, 3 inhalers, and actually have 2 just in case meds. I am tired. I'm having a very hard time. This time last year, Sissy was here to see Ricky. We had nothing but laughs, but also sadness, 'cause you could see death on Ricky's face. It's 60 days to the 1-year anniversary of his passing, and about 6 months since Sissy passed. I remember I was packing up the house so we could put it in storage till we knew what our next step would be. It's amazing how fast time has passed. This day 3 years ago, on March 26, 2013, was the start of this journey with these chronic illnesses. I remember I was on my way to work. I got off the bus and headed to the hospital. Instead, it saved my life. I was in the early stages of having a heart attack by the time I got to the nurse in triage. Now, 3 years later, after 15 ambulance rides, 1 in the fire truck because they couldn't wait on the ambulance, 34 hospital admissions, about 67 x-rays, CT scans, and MRIs, 15 stress tests, 13 angiograms, 2 more stents, and around 130 doctor's appointments. 3 that sent me straight to the ER, and 1 that earned me a 72-hour hold at Desert Parkway that turned into 9 days. I had 1 cardiac arrest, 2 more heart attacks, and 3 stopped in early stages, 2 seizures, 2 strokes, 2 renal failures, 4 admissions due to not being able to keep food and medication down, and 5 24-hour observations that turned into 8-day stays in the hospital. During those stays, according to the conditions the doctor listed on my discharge papers and what my SSI attorney was told, I had been diagnosed at one time or another with Prinzmetal's angina with residual chest pain, vasospasms and shortness of breath, coronary artery disease, hypertension, seizure disorder, degenerative disc disease of cervical and lumbar spine, carpal tunnel syndrome, post-stroke with residual antalgic gait, anxiety disorder, severe functional limitations in sitting, standing, walking, lifting, and carrying. Sounds like a lot already, but it doesn't end there. cannot balance, stoop, kneel, crouch, or crawl, emphysema, COPD, and asthma. Some word I have no idea how to pronounce. Cardiovascular disease, tremors, chronic pain syndrome, and migraines. Panic disorder with agoraphobia, stress-induced ischemia, acute coronary syndrome, atrioventricular block, left arterial enlargement, and air fluid level at left lung base. Central cerebellar abnormalities, cervical spondylitis, ankylosing spondylitis, left-sided radiolopathy, and right CTS. Severe major depressive disorder, slurred speech, loss of function and weakness on left side, and let's not forget my favorite ones: poor judgment and insight, multiple sclerosis. I still do not buy that one. Equilibrium thrown off. Part of heart has died, and sometimes it doesn't get enough oxygen. Nerve damage, 3 pinched nerve, and arthritis in a prayer tree. Some of those were caused by the heart attacks, strokes, and seizures. I still cannot believe all of this is in a legal document as being in my medical records. I do not even remember half of this. God is good. By looking at me, you would not know it. So let's put all this in daily living. My speech slurs from time to time, especially when excited. I have to use a walker if walking more than 5 minutes. I have physical therapy, occupational therapy, and am closely monitored by at least one doctor's appointment a week. I've gone from being in hospitals every 3 weeks to every 3 months. I take 25 pills a day currently, along with 2 daily inhalers and 1 rescue inhaler. I put on 2 different pain patches along with 3 different pain pills. My hand that has the nerve damage loves to give out and drop things. The 2 that bother me the most is when my equilibrium acts up. One time was so bad, the police actually stopped me thinking I was walking under the influence. After I showed them my conditions and medication list, one laughed and said,
I would say that's walking under the influence.
When he saw my pain medications. It got me a ride to my doctor's appointment via ambulance since they had called for it. When my pain is so bad and I have to take all the pain medications allowed at one time, on those occasions, I've been told to stay off of Facebook. The nerve damage, the pinched nerve in my neck, and the 2 in my lower back, along with the required surgery. I'm not planning that. Praying God will heal that. I've been able to go from walking only 10 minutes at a time to 3 miles. I've been able to do other forms of exercise that would normally cause shortness of breath or chest pain after 5 minutes, and go for long periods of time with no side effects outside what is considered normal. During all this, I also walked through losing so-called friends, death of several close friends I considered family members, dealing with all the stuff required to get disability and being homeless. God is good. I am thankful to all that have prayed and still continue to pray for me. I am thankful all that called, text, sent care packages and other things needed to keep going. I want to thank God for putting joy and peace in my heart so that I continue to laugh and smile no matter what comes my way. Nitro patch on, Dilaudid in, Zofran in the Air Force Base Hospital again. They just told me a couple of other things they are looking at besides my normal conditions. All the other vital organs and conditions that can cause my symptoms. I am actually glad they are not stopping at the chest pain like the civilian hospitals do. They don't like the severe abdominal pain that has been present the last 2 admits, or the fact that I'm not keeping food, liquids, and meds in has come so close to 60 days instead of once a year. They did ask that one question I always hate since I have strokes in my past.
Have you forgotten what you were doing? Have trouble remembering things you normally do? Trouble talking, walking, sleeping, seeing?
So now I'm waiting on heart doctor, head doctor, tummy doctor, back doctor, and with my luck, a mind doctor. So they're gonna cut my blocker in half again to see if my heart rate gets faster. Besides that, my heart is great. They are focused on my esophagus and abdomen and rehydration this morning. They also believe I had a lapse. Since that statement came after a bunch of mental questions, I didn't bother to ask what kind of lapse. Not that I knew. I don't think I want to know the answer. So I do know I'll be here till tomorrow, maybe longer. Depends on how quickly my heart rate picks up and if they can figure out what's going on with my stomach. Waiting on my GI cocktail now. I could make a smart remark about that since it numbs your mouth and throat, but I'll leave it right there. I got to go to the dentist, but I can't get over my fear. The last 2 times I went, within 11 days of each, I had a heart attack, a stroke, and a seizure. The doctor said it was just a coincidence, but my mind is like, yeah, right. But I hate pain, and my doctor will be really pissed if I ended up in the hospital because my gums affected my heart. Wish I could just go to sleep at home and wake up and they be pulled, but dentists don't make house calls. My mind must be working overtime because I have actually just fallen asleep in the middle of doing important things that I truly enjoy, such as sorting my cross-stitch thread, working on a giraffe wall hanging, playing a game on my phone, eating some homemade chocolate chip cookies, and watching my favorite show on TV. This is not acceptable behavior. I need to have a talk with my mind. Being my oldest, my daughter Ryan has seen me at my worst, and I put her through a lot. We have had our issues, and I will never brag about being the ideal mom. In fact, I had no idea what to do most of the time. But no matter what, she never totally gave up on me. A child has no idea how much a mother loves them when that mother has no idea how to love in the first place. Each day I pray for my kids, give them space when they get mad at me, and most of all, be there for them when I can. The last few days have been really crazy, emotional roller coaster ride. This time last year, on May 8th, 2015, was the day that the life Ricky and I had planned for ourselves fell apart. On the morning of the 5th, we got the initial news that Ricky was going to die. Even though he had stage 4 stomach cancer, they did not believe his heart was going to last much longer. Later that afternoon, I had my second stroke, followed by a seizure. The doctors at UMC moved Ricky to the ICU room next to mine, or a couple rooms down from me. Ricky was released on the 9th while I remained in the ICU, having no idea I would only see him 4 more times. The doctors told me I had severe back problems, nerve damage in my hands. My nervous disorder I was born with was worse, and due to the last brain MRI and spinal tap, they had suspected early stages of MS. But I never went out at least 1 meal a day when I was homeless. I would somehow be at the front of a waiting list that I didn't sign up for. The real friends I still had, unfortunately, most lived in other states, sent me prayers, texts, care packages, pocket money, and hope. God put Pat in my life. She has never asked for anything. She took me to all my appointments and bought anything I needed. She cooked for me, wouldn't let me clean, bought me clothes, and got me back into doing my crafts. Unfortunately, I had people that I had known for years turn their backs, lie, used me, and even stole from me. I had several male friends, many married, offer so-called comfort. They are no longer my friends, and they are lucky I no longer am a vengeful person. I kept walking. I now have my own spot, sort of. Pat Hatter needs help financially and has a room I can rent. I am no longer mad at God, and I'm actually thankful for my experience. My attitude about life has changed drastically again. I have hundreds of chronically ill social media friends and acquaintances in my life. Where I couldn't walk for 5 minutes last year, I can now walk a mile before having to take a break. I am back up to 26 pills a day and 2 inhalers. My asthma decided it would come back after being dormant for 18 years. But most of them are preventative to keep things from happening. They still say I need back and hand surgery. But unless it gets to the point where I can't use my hands or can't walk, I'm relying on God. Don't get me wrong. I am not perfect. I actually wanted to really hurt someone on the 8th of March. But God put someone else in my life right before that who kept my mind on positive thoughts. My kids who wanted to hurt this person, but by God's grace understood when I said that person was not worth it, and not to mention my healthy fear of jail. I looked for my phone for 10 minutes before I realized I was holding it. I tried to put money in my front pocket for 5 minutes before I discovered it didn't have a front pocket. I stared at my coffee cup for 3 minutes before I remembered I was making a cup of coffee. A German shepherd on the other side of a 7-foot wall got his 2 front legs and head over the top of his wall when he heard me coming, and I watched the light turn green 2 times before it dawned on me I needed to cross the street. I turned around and came back home.